Left Wing Kingz. Listen, think, act, repeat.
You know, Arizona's really going way back in time. They didn't jump back to 1864.
Why the hell they do that?
So we've been thrown into a legal time capsule. Like in 1864, there was a law that was enacted before Arizona even became a state that banned nearly all abortions. The only exception was if the mother's life was in jeopardy. Now, this relic from the Civil War lay dormant for decades. Now, go forward to 2023, and the former AG for Arizona, Mark Brnovich, dusted off the old law, and now, you know how long the legal system works. In 2024, the Arizona Supreme Court ruled that 1864 law is enforceable. So I hope I got everybody caught up. So Ace, what does this decision mean for the patients in Arizona?
Okay, I was gonna say something else. I'm gonna stay where we at though. You can, like, if you get an abortion now, you know, in Arizona, not only is it illegal, but they can prosecute you under this law, you know, basically. And patience means a lot of things. You can't get an abortion in Arizona. You're going to have to be traveling in the Underground Railroad if you want an abortion, going to other states. And don't come to the South because that's completely cut off too.
Yep.
And it's a really attack on women's health there. You know, Arizona's just ass backwards, man. They have been for the longest, man. It started when they didn't want the Martin Luther King holiday. You know what I mean? They just, you know, I hate to say it, man. They've just really pushed a racist agenda out of that state for the longest. And, you know, anybody who wants to go back in laws, that's just automatic racism right there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to go back in law.
Yeah.
Like, nobody. They, you know, other than racist. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just straight up. So, like, if you're a patient there and you need an abortion, and what's sad to say, that's if it's incest, that's if it's rape, if the mother's life is in jeopardy, it's now against the law to do that based on something that happened when we was riding around on horses and owning slaves and killing Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's good about that? I have no idea. I don't know who's the guy that saw that law and said, "Hey, let's bring this back. Everybody's gonna love this." But you really got to be a twisted mind on somebody who wants to go back to a time when this country was not in a good place.
Yeah, I think that this is going to make it so people have to really make hard choices, even if you want to have children. Because if you decide, hey, you know what, let's have a baby, and then you're like, okay, well, I got to look at, well, what if there's some type of genetic problem with my kid? What happens if I'm having a problem pregnancy and it looks like it's going to be unhealthy for, if you're a woman, for myself, if you're a man, for my spouse or my partner? That makes it so the probability of you wanting to even start a family, even if you're pro-life, that makes it very difficult, you know? So I think that people look at it like it's only going to affect people who are pro-choice. That's not the case. It's going to affect everybody. Yeah. It's going to affect everybody. And they didn't use a scalpel. They used a machete when they like came in with this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And people were, oh yeah, you know, Roe versus Wade was overturned. But nah.
Yeah.
That's, you know, it's gonna affect every person. Every person, every female who is a patient, when you go in there and you're, like I said, if you're thinking about planning a family, then good luck, because if you got any problems and you have to they're thinking about terminating the pregnancy, you're gonna have problems. It's gonna be difficult for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, when this law was passed originally, they were cutting off legs with saws.
Exactly, man.
The anesthesiology was a bottle of whiskey. You know
and
what I'm saying?
They didn't make you drink it. They hit you on the head with that motherfucker.
You know, doctors didn't even know what germs were. They were just dirty hand operating on you. You know, I mean, it's just like you know what? If John McCain was living, this wouldn't even came out of Arizona like this. There's no way.
Nope.
You know it's bad when me and Carrie Lake agree on something.
Yeah.
And Carrie Lake
Her ass go back and forth
Yeah, but
about everything. Though.
we'll talk about that in a minute. We're gonna talk about that in a minute.
horrible.
We're gonna talk about that in a minute. So, Steve, let's flip the script. We talked about the patients. What about the doctors? What does this mean for those doctors in Arizona?
It means if you do that shit, you get 3 to 5 years. That's what that means. 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years for doing your fucking job. That's what that means. So again,
3
like
to
I
5
said,
years for helping someone who might have a genetic disorder that they,
exactly, man. and again, that is the problem. Even if, like I said, and I am definitely pro-choice. I believe that we don't know, look, what's going on with a person, and real talk, we don't got the resources to take care of kids that people don't want. Yeah. We don't in this country. It's sad to say, but we don't. Mm-hmm. Okay. But let's just say again, I'll be devil's advocate. Let's say that, okay, even the people who are pro-life, if you're having a problem pregnancy and the doctor's looking at it, the doctor's saying, well, damn, I might get 3 to 5 years. Is he going to perform that abortion, or he's going to be like,
yeah.
What you going to do?
Right.
And that is the problem. Like I said, there's no nuance to these laws.
Mm-mm. Yeah, and don't doctors take oaths if somebody's in, they're in the critical condition or whatever? Yeah. They got to help them. You know what I'm saying? That ain't that an oath they got to take?
They oathing not to drop the soap, nigga. What you talking about, man?
Yeah. And they gonna lock up doctors. That's what we doing now. That's what we doing in this country. We're locking up doctors for doing their job.
For doing their job.
You know what I'm saying? Because some idiot decided to go back to 1864 and pull a law out of nowhere. Come on, man. This is just getting crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? So, I just don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, if you pro-life, if you pro-choice, whatever you are, don't that end when people's lives are in danger or they got raped or something like that? Don't ain't that where it draws the line? Yeah, incest. Yeah. So I mean, I'll be real. And write this one down. This is a white Christian national agenda when it comes to abortion and immigration. I've said that. It's just a simple fact that white nationalist Christians don't want to be known as a minority. So now they're fighting abortion. They're fighting immigration to keep those numbers up, to keep power. That's just basically it. That's the only reason you're going to go back to 1864.
Yeah. I just find it hard. And it's a hard decision for anybody, because in the case where an individual may die because of a pregnancy, then there's 2 lives, according to like anybody who's, pro-life. Which life has the value? Like the one that's, the 21-year-old who might die because of this pregnancy, or the baby who's probably going to die anyway. I mean, or may not die, but now this baby is now causing this 21-year-old person to expire. So if you're pro-life, which life? There's multiple lives in the balance at that time. So it's hard to say, man.
And plus, they ain't doing nothing for folks when the baby gets here. They ain't helping. They don't want to help.
Yeah,
but
politicians.
If you say like you're pro-life, then you basically have to provide resources to help those lives live a balanced life. I'm not saying to give them make them millionaires, but if you're gonna make somebody come up in this motherfucker, get them the resources they need to live.
Exactly,
I don't think they care, man. I think that there's an agenda to keep a dependent state in this country. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how many babies are here. You know what I'm saying? Because once again, they can allocate resources and come up with ways to make money off of that dependent state. You know what I'm saying? Just plain and simple. So politicians aren't doctors. Yeah. And I'm tired of politicians making scientific decisions, you know what I'm saying? And then trying to lock up doctors for doing what we pay them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's stupid.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we talk about, hard decisions, pro-life conservatives like Matt Gress and Carrie Lake, your girl Carrie, they're denouncing the Arizona Supreme Court's decision. Problem is, they were embracing the other side, the pro-life stance. Now, all of a sudden, they're flip-flopping. So, Ace, why are these legislators flip-flopping right now?
Couple of reasons. I think Carrie Lake, it hit home. It was good to talk about it when it wasn't in her state. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't affecting her. So, hey, I'm pro-life, blah, 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 blah. When that shit hit home, and now it's going to affect direct voters for her, it's going to direct people that she represents in Arizona that vote for her, look like her. Now they have to live under this law. I think that's why she flipped. You know what I'm saying? Because now it hit home. But when it was in Wisconsin somewhere, she could care less, so she could talk all that pro-life stuff. And we know Carrie Lake, you know, she just says what needs to be said to appease, you know, Trump voters and the MAGA Republicans, you know. So we know how that works. But
I mean, he's flip-flopped.
He's flip-flopped too.
15 times is what they said, I think, recently.
Look, they know, Republicans know this abortion right is a killer for them. Going to kill them. Like, there's conservative white women that do not agree with that. And if it's on the ballot, it's going to vote that way. You know what I'm saying? Because in the day, in the story, like Steve said, if you're family planning, you don't want to risk it. If something happens to you during the pregnancy, you can die. And your doctor can go to jail. That's just common sense. And if you're trying to plan a family, I don't care how you lay on the policy, like you said, that's a real threat. Now in my state, I can't even try to think about having a baby because, you know, what if I'm at risk? What if the baby's at risk? The doctor's going to have to make a decision to let me either die or let the baby die because he can't do an abortion?
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to have to go to California or some shit. It's going to be an extra expense for me to go.
Yes.
Or even worse, you know, I got raped. You know what I'm saying? I'm pregnant now. Mm-hmm. And y'all gonna make me have this baby here? I don't have the means to go to California or wherever the case I can go get an abortion. Then I don't have the means to pay the doctor once I get there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's just, you know, like I said, it's just I don't have a better word to say, but stupid. It's just stupid. I don't understand.
So why are they flip-flopping?
They're flip-flopping because I think that people are realizing that these laws are misogynistic. These are laws that are made by a whole bunch of men about women and what women can do to their bodies. And most women don't like that shit, man.
It's funny that you bring that up, man. It just put a picture in my mind of 1864. Some motherfuckers in the territory of Arizona.
It wasn't even a state.
Right. In the territory. Exactly. Got in the room. You think there was a woman in that room?
Fuck no.
There was no woman in the room in 1864 for this decision?
Yeah. Women sure couldn't vote. And I
couldn't even talk to men about situations. They sat there at home and drank tea and talked about doilies and fucking doing dresses and books that they read. They didn't even, those type of affairs and discussions were like, a woman should not be in a room for this discussion. It was crazy.
Yeah. And just like, but like what you said about Carrie Lake, okay? People like her, this is not about what their views are. It is about, I want to get into office.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. With Trump, if you listen to him all the way up until right before he started running for president, this dude was pro-choice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was shit.
Yes, it was. Yeah. Especially all this screwing around he was doing. You know, let's be real, okay? But all the way up until then, pro-choice. But he had to get elected, so then he became pro-life. And what happens is this: you make these decisions, and then the people who are really, you know, protesting and everything at the abortion clinics and everything were the people who were giving him the names for the Supreme Court, stuff like that, you know. So then you get, you know, your Brett Kavanaughs, your Amy Coney Barrett's and everything elected into the Supreme Court. They overturn everything, and then the water spills down. Yeah, the water just spills all the way out the dam, you know, and you got all these crazy laws. Yeah. But I don't think that they really considered the ramifications.
No, they didn't.
No,
they didn't. They didn't think about it at all. You can't bring back a law that was around when goddamn Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp was fighting at the OK Corral in goddamn Arizona at Tombstone and shit.
Man. And
yeah, I mean, you can't bring back no law like that.
Yeah.
When you can just round up a posse and go hang a motherfucker. Like, nah, like, what are y'all doing, man, in Arizona, bro? Mm-hmm. Like I said, and once again, women weren't even at the table.
Nope.
When this law was passed. You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
So Arizona today is filled with a whole bunch of women that vote that don't like this. So, yeah, it's a problem. It's definitely a problem. So I mean, it's just like I said. Once again, I don't understand who opened the book and saw this goddamn law and said, "Hey, let's bring this back." I mean, who is that guy?
But it wasn't just in Arizona. That shit happened in other states too, though.
Yeah, it happened in a lot of places. But I'm just saying. But Arizona's only the dumbasses to put it out there so we can talk crazy about them. But we already know a lot of states down south, Alabama, Arkansas, and crazy stuff like that. So, we've got laws like that coming up here. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I know those are some dumbass states, but we don't want y'all to be dumbasses. Click the like button,
please.
Okay, subscribe to Left Wing Kingz, and also make sure you share this content on all of your social media platforms out there. So, Ace, what are the activists in Arizona doing to try to overturn this decision? Because it's a 14-day stay on it right now. So, what are they trying to do?
They're trying to repeal that law. They're going after that law. They're trying to repeal that law, man, and hopefully they're successful at that. And they're getting a lot of headroom. It's a lot of support, and like I said, I think it almost unifies, almost damn near bipartisan. This law over here. So, I mean, they're doing what they need to do. Unfortunately, they shouldn't have to do this because laws that I think there should be a rule that laws that go past World War I. Shouldn't be able to be brought back into the books. But that's what they're doing. They're trying to repeal it.
This is where people don't realize you don't just vote in national elections.
Yeah.
You vote in your state elections. You vote in your local elections. If you vote in your state elections and your state senators and your state congressmen and everything are logical, you don't have to deal with this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And we always look at, the presidency, the Senate, the Congress. Look, the first thing that's going to affect you is your city and then what's going on in your state.
Exactly.
So the activists, that's what they need to be doing. They need to, and it can't just be this year.
Right.
It can't just be this year. And unfortunately, nationally, we're probably going to find it very difficult to get a supermajority and be able to get some type of amendment protecting women's rights to have an abortion. That's probably not going to happen. So it is imperative for people to get out and vote in your state.
Yep.
Arizona, vote in your state to make sure that you get state senators and everything that are going to protect, your sisters, your mothers, so that you have options.
Yeah. So to your point, state, local elections, those are very important. In Arizona, abortion advocates are actually working right now. They're pushing for a state constitutional amendment that will overturn this. So if they get that in their state's amendment, it's locked down unless another law comes through to push it. So right now it looks like they need to get 384,000 certified signatures by July 3rd if they want it to be on the ballot in November. So that's a big push. So I hope y'all can get that done. And, that's hard work out there. So appreciate that. Now,
Well, they got a Democratic governor out there. So, I mean, Arizona's made some strides, but there's a contingency out there that really pushes a racist agenda in Arizona. I think they try to fight it on the ground, man. But there's something going on because that state's always at the head of something just racist popping up out of damn nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, and that leads to my next question because really, I mean, the way that our government is structured by racist or pro-life, whatever type of people, it's all boils down to state, local, but then also some of the decisions come from up high. Like some of the decisions that the reason why they were able to make these state and local laws is because the Supreme Court decision on Roe versus Wade, right, in 2022. If that didn't happen, these states couldn't bring back an 1864
they wouldn't
law.
even thought about it.
Exactly. So what else could the Supreme Court make a decision on that will take us back in another time machine? I mean, any opening to doors to other old laws, Steve?
Okay, so you've already heard Clarence Thomas talk about wanting to end gay marriage. Okay, you've already heard Clarence Thomas talk about his disagreement with anything that has to do with gay people. Okay, so at least in the South, all the states, most of them at least, have laws against some type of sodomy law or something against gay people. So I do feel like that's a danger. Okay, you talk about Black people's right to vote.
Yeah, I was gonna say Voting Right Act.
Yeah. That's
always under attack.
Always under attack, and they're already doing it sneaky.
Yeah.
So
they're not even sneaky with some of this shit. They blatant with a lot of
they're
it
pretty.
too.
Yeah,
but they're
pretty,
sneaky with some stuff.
Yeah, they're sneaky with some stuff also. So I think that those are the things that immediately come to mind. Those two things.
I mean, understand the Voting Right Act just came into play in 1965. That was after my mom was born. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't like it's something that's just it ain't 1864.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's always under attack. So, I mean, if they can roll back this, what makes it say they can't roll back people's right to vote? And then, if you don't have any voting, you don't have any power. So
that's your voice.
Yeah, that's the fear. That's the biggest fear. You know what I'm saying? They roll back this one, and ain't nothing stopping them to start rolling back anything, which they're already trying to do. That's already something that's going on. They're trying to pass legislation right now to limit votes and making it hard for people to vote. So,
yeah, and I think once they take away once they limit people's ability to vote, then anything is at play. Because once you can't vote, you don't have a voice. So what you say is irrelevant. You just don't like it.